Hi, I'm Sam Chamberlain.
Hi, I'm Greg Crow.
And I'm Catherine Maloney. Caroline Maloney.
Today we're going to talk about Coca-Cola's supply chain.
But first, I'm going to explain the supply chain basics. A supply chain is a series of integrated enterprises that must share information and coordinate physical execution to ensure a smooth, integrated flow of goods, services, information, and cash through the pipeline. The supply chain can also be referred to as a supply network or a value chain or network. The supply chain starts with raw materials and component suppliers and ends with the consumers. When we talk about supply chain management, we're referring to the planning and management of the activities involved in the chain, including the coordination and collaboration between different components. There are also different strategies involved in the supply chain process. The strategy a company uses defines the connection and combination of activities and functions throughout the value chain in order to fulfill the business value proposal to customers in the marketplace. A strategy can be functional, meaning efficient and cost-effective, or it can also be innovative, meaning having a responsive supply chain with products that reflect market demand. There are four overall elements of supply chain strategy. These are a unique value proposal, an industry framework, a managerial focus, and internal processes. Coca-Cola's unique value is mainly their brand name. Everyone around the world knows Coke or has heard of it, and in a lot of areas call like any soft drink simply a Coke. As for the industry framework, Coca-Cola is part of the carbonated soft drink industry, essentially a duopoly between Coke and Pepsi, creating a unique type of competition. Coke's managerial focus and internal process both revolve around a key part of Coke's current global strategy, and that is to segment processes for tighter control of their individual supply chains. So now Catherine is going to talk more about their innovative side and what they're doing to stay ahead of Pepsi.
So in our research, I found that Coca-Cola actually uses a number of different types of supply chains based on the customer's need and the local tastes of the consumers in every market, since Coca-Cola is completely globalized. This method of implementing different types of supply chains within local operations is also known as segmentation. Coke supply chains are known as customer-driven supply chains, meaning that the supply chains are demand-driven. Since Coke's supply chain strategy relies on changes in the market, it is more innovative as opposed to functional because it is responsive to customer demand. Supply planning for Coke is driven by forecasted customer demand input, seasonality, and also by promotions or changes in the merchandising store, which also contributes to why Coke has a more innovative supply chain. The reason Coca-Cola Company has to remain so innovative is partly due to its competition with PepsiCo. Decades ago, the two companies came to an agreement that stated that they would not compete on cost. Instead, they would keep the same cost for beverages and only compete on quality. For Coke, this means that in order to keep the competition alive, the company is constantly coming up with ways to increase customer experience on quality instead of cost. One prime example of Coke's innovative strategy is shown through its Share a Coke marketing campaign, which has not only been an effort to fuel revenues, but also an effort to get consumers to share moments of happiness while engaging in fun summer activities. Now Greg is going to talk about the key elements of Coke's supply chain strategy.
So in class, we've discussed 12 key elements of supply chain strategy. Now we all know Coke is a huge international company, so obviously they have departments dedicated toward just about everyone. As a whole company, however, they have an intense focus on about 6 of them. As Kat just mentioned, Coke's one major competitor is Pepsi. As their main competition has been based solely on quality for some time now, it is very important to maintain smooth operations in every facet of the company. For this reason, the first key strategy element I will mention is their global optimization strategy. As the carbonated soft drink industry has expanded both abroad, Coke and Pepsi have been fighting for control of market share. Now, Coke in particular has been putting a huge emphasis on tightening its control internationally and optimizing supply chain performance to stay ahead of the game on a global scale. The next 4 elements that Coke is focusing on actually all go hand in hand. Before 2010, as Coke continued to expand abroad, it became very difficult to maintain control of information throughout the supply chain. This led to all kinds of problems that were not only hurting Coke's reputation as a company, but costing them a lot of money. They decided that to solve the problem, they would have to integrate a higher level of technology. So they decided that to solve the problem, they would implement an SAP ERP system. By standardizing their processes and performance metrics across all areas of the company, Coke was able to lower their complexity, increase cross-chain collaboration, and optimize their existing mass customization strategy for their products. The last huge element that they really have been focusing on lately is sustainability. Coca-Cola has recently designed a global supplier guiding principles, which is a set of rules that have expectations for any supplier that wants to do business with Coke. Coke has aggressively been pushing these policies on their agricultural supporters in order to ensure compliance with modern standards for sustainability globally.
So to wrap things up, Coca-Cola is a very unique industry. Due to the fact that almost all of carbonated soft drinks are dominated by Coke and Pepsi, they have unique drivers in what to do with their supply chain. As we have mentioned already, Coke is highly driven by innovation. We believe that the company's supply chain and almost all
of its developments in the future will depend on how their competition innovates as well. So at this point, it's a race for market share in which Coke will tirelessly improve all of its operations to maintain its industry control.
Since all this is very undecided yet, we can only look to the future to see how Coke and Pepsi make each other improve by forcing innovation in both their supply chain and their products.